They went to the queen to tell her her subjects had no bread. Do you know what she said?
Let them eat cake.
Who took the bomb?
We're getting screwed, man. Every time we turn around, we're getting screwed. Oh, the revolution's going to be through podcasting for sure. That's the only way we talk. It's the little guys that take the brunt of everything. It's got to stop. Peasants, man. We're just peasants. Every one of us. You watch those old movies, you see the peasants in the background with the kings and queens walking around. We're those people. We're those people. Good morning, peasants. Welcome to another episode of The Peasant's Perspective. Glad to be back with you again today. It's been a whole 24 hours. 22, really, because the show's like 2 hours long. So, Pony Boy, good morning. John Atakis, good morning. Glad to have you with us. That's awesome. We got a couple local stories today.
You know, to wrap up what we were just talking about, you know, I used to make these tapes with music on them, and my dad got a double tape deck. And so I was able to record. You know how you're talking like you got to wait, you know, Rick D's top 40. You're going to be like ready to hit the buttons. Ready, go. Well, I didn't have to do that anymore because I just
have
record.
the tape and cross it over.
Yes. But then I learned all about degradation as you record over and over and over.
Challenges that the Zoomer Waffens will never have. They just go to Apple Music and download the song. We're over there listening to the radio all day long to make a mixtape for our little girlfriends.
They already don't even know what Napster is.
They don't even know what Napster is. Yeah. Oh, that's fun. Well, you know, to just continue to talk about flooding in Washington, which for us is kind of a big story.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I was driving with my wife to Costco. Finally ran a little errand. My life has been so busy lately, I don't get to do the fun things like go to Costco. And, you know, it was sunny because these storms have been coming in these bands, right? So it'd been sunny for a little bit, and we're driving in a spot, and there's a new storm drain like over by the Sonic that went out of business because it didn't pay his taxes. Right. So there's they just put in like new riprap and everything, completely full. It looked like a little river just rolling, right? Going into the culvert. It was more water than could fit through the culvert. Oh, okay. So it was backing up right there, and it was going into the storm pond, which is completely at capacity all the way up to the like above the drain. Like it's going as fast as it can to wherever it's going. And I look at my wife and I go, look how full that is. And then I go, and it's not raining. Like, that's for street runoff. It's pulling that out of the ground and it's just full. I was like, wow, we are saturated. Up in the mountains, it's starting to snow. And which, you know, wet ground, really heavy, wet trees. And then you get snow on top of it. It's just a recipe for badness. So let's take a look at this here. This is a little aerial footage. This is, I think, Highway 187. Oh, no, I don't even know what this is. That's the Puget Sound right there.
Turn the sound off.
Oh, you did? Great. Yeah. This helicopter actually flew over Kitsap yesterday. I saw it. They were flying around all over taking aerial footage. But, you know, these are big warehouses. You know, there's a little bit of farmland in here, but you can see this whole valley is just flooded out. And it's not good. And what's interesting there's the Puget Sound. I mean, it's not making it over the hump. It needs to drain. It's just incredible. The more incredible one is this one here, because, you know, sometimes we see farmland. We're like, yeah, farmland floods. No, these are neighborhoods. This is Pacific Washington. I flipped a couple houses down here. It's kind of the low rent part of King County. And, but it's, again, this is working class America. There's the train there. That's the little levee that broke. You can see the water's just rushing in, but you know, look at this. This is a neighborhood. These are neighborhoods. Like these are, you know, Cracker Jack box houses. It's flooded out the whole streets, and it goes on and on and on. It's no bueno, my friends. No bueno at all. It's everywhere you look, there's just more and more flooding. I saw a picture of the Spokane River yesterday over in Spokane. It's roaring. I've got lots of footage. We don't need to go through it all. Suffice it to say, the national news is not covering this, which is, I'm kind of like, this is like a huge disaster. Like Washington will be dealing with this for 6 months just for cleanup. And then some projects, roads and bridges that have gone down could be.
Surely there's probably deaths that are attributed to this too as well.
Yeah, I haven't heard a death count.
I haven't either.
I haven't heard a death count. I don't know how rapid this flooding is. Like, this isn't flash flooding necessarily.
Sure.
I think people have time to get out of the way.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. But yeah, we're probably going to hear something. A couple days ago down in Port Orchard, which is right here in our county. That's just down the road.
Hop, skip, and jump.
15 minutes just down the road. It's our county seat. It's our county. Like,
if you want to brave going through Gorst.
Yeah, this is our hometown here, Port Orchard. This man right here was gathering signatures for a initiative that Washington State, you gather enough signatures and you can create an initiative bill or whatever. I don't even.
Okay, sure.
They're
you can get on the ballot for something.
Constantly gathering signatures that go nowhere. Like when we decided as a state, we overruled the legislature and the governor, and we said we're going to have $30 card tabs, and they were like, maybe not.
I think we did it like 9 times.
Like 9 times, yeah. So there's like a movement now to just not renew your card tabs. It's like, well, what you guys are doing is illegal by charging us these fees because we followed the Constitution and these are supposed to be $30. Again, another example of there are no laws, there are only cops. If they want to charge you the fee and they won't give you the license without it, what you going to do about it, right? Even though we've constitutionally eliminated the high price card tabs in Washington. So anyways, this man right here was getting signatures for a bill, an initiative to basically for parental rights. And it has to do with the transgender stuff. And this guy right down here at the grocery store, he was wearing a Charlie Kirk Freedom shirt or whatever. He made, shooting face signals and stuff like that. And anyways, turns out he's up from Woodinville, apparently, or he was arrested in Woodinville. Port Orchard man arrested, threatening to shoot Let's Go Washington signature gatherer in the neck.
Oh boy.
So this is the guy, and this is one of the moments of this altercation. I guess it did get physical. He grabbed their boards and threw them on the ground. You can turn the sound on.
Okay. Were you threatening to shoot me?
I'm not trying to shoot you.
Oh, okay. You said bop bop. So was that a threat?
Watch her neck.
So you're threatening me. You said bop bop. So was that a threat?
Watch her neck.
Were you threatening to shoot me?
So the guy that's talking is in white, and he was with the guy collecting signatures, and this guy basically started a big fight. And ultimately, he got arrested, which in Washington, if the guy that's liberal, that's criticizing the Charlie Kirk Turning Point crowd getting signatures is getting arrested, they had probable cause. He started the fight. So, I remember one time I had a brother-in-law come up to Washington, and he was wearing a MAGA hat. And we went up to the gas station.
All right.
And he traveled all over the country, even all over the world, and he wears this MAGA hat everywhere. And he walks into the gas
Probably
station.
even forgot he had it on.
Yeah, he'd been in Washington for, all of 3 hours. We go to the gas station, and first person he interacts with doesn't have a last name of John Atakis, goes, "Hey, douche." And he's like, what? He's like, "Stupid hat," and he's like, walks by him. And my brother-in-law's like, "I've been all over the world with this hat. I've never had someone say something. I came to Washington for 2 minutes and already got accosted." I'm like, "I know, bro. It's rough here." Every day I make decisions about what I wear. Should I wear the shirt with the flag on it? I never wear a Make America hat again out in public. The only one I've ever worn out in public was my black one because it draws a little less attention. And I usually only wear it when I'm coming into the podcast and I don't have to stop at a gas station to get gas. Right? It's really sad. On just an interesting note, not that we're going to jump into our content here, but it's a little out of place for today, but I think it's important. Donald Trump was talking about the financial system changing over, and this is just important for people to understand. Things are changing in a big, big way. So a lot of the economic stuff that we cover, they're doing things to basically remonetize the debt and kind of get a fresh restart, which, there's going to be winners or losers.
Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that. Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using the state-of-the-art crypto technology. Who would have thought we would have been saying that 2 years after? Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is...
Oh, yeah. It's I hate it when it just replays in the short clips. Okay, so that's just, a factoid. Just put it out there. Things are changing, the crypto blockchain technology. The reason this is important, and we're going to touch on this quite a bit in the show today, is there's so much financial fraud. And this is a way to stop a lot of that fraud. So on one hand, for those of us that are real liberty lovers and we just want, gold coins and dollars that, provide the most privacy possible, this is going to eliminate the ability for you to have privacy in your financial transactions. But simultaneously, the transparency that cryptography provides is going to make it very difficult for the government to commit fraud, so long as there's some kind of check and balance to where we can check the ledger, right? That's one of the things about Bitcoin. It's like, yeah, you've got some privacy, but everybody can see the transactions. So we know if you bought drugs with crypto, we just don't know if it was you, right? But the moment that we can connect it to you, that's it, right? It's like, yeah, don't buy cocaine with a Visa card. They figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, so that's pretty interesting. Yesterday, Trump gave his big speech. He had announced it right after he put his Venezuela post. He announced, tomorrow, come listen to this speech. And what happened was a bunch of people and important influencers, people like Tucker Carlson, had inside tips from in the White House. I talked to someone, Trump will be addressing the nation tonight about Venezuela. I fully expected it. That's, when I was reading the tea leaves, that's what I thought, and especially when these people that had insiders that were doing it. This caused a huge frenzy. You had Rand Paul giving a speech on the Senate floor yesterday, Thomas Massey, no regime change wars. This is about oil, right? Maybe it is. By the way, I figured out what Donald Trump was talking about, our land, our assets, and our oil. So we had contracts with Venezuela for oil refineries and things like that with American companies. And 20 years ago, they nationalized all that stuff and basically just, took it from the United States, which in international law, those contracts are kind of set in stone. You got a 99-year contract. It's a 99-year contract. Okay. Iran is still
there's still value to it.
Yes. Iran got kicked out of the world order, or they kicked themselves out of the world order when they nationalized the BP oil fields. Now, BP had really screwed over Iran, gave them very little royalties for the oil they were pumping out of the ground. But that is why Iran.
So they didn't feel like they were losing anyways.
Yeah. And that is why Iran is kind of out of the picture and nobody's allowed to buy their oils because they violated their contract. When you make multi-billion-dollar investments, you enforce your contracts with armies. When we make little $10,000 contracts, we enforce it with the local magistrate judge. You know what I'm saying? So that's what is going on there. Is they want our contractual rights back. Now, you could make an argument whether that's good or bad, but it is a lawful reason why we could be doing what we're doing down there to take those things back. The other big thing about that is it really cuts off the cartel. That's all they're financing. So we'll talk about that. This is Jack Posobiec talking to Steve Bannon about this info op that the White House ran.
Well, Steve, I first have to say I really appreciate the White House's ability to run an information operation on so much of social media, putting all this information out there, sort of these strategic leaks to make people think that this was going to be some kind of speech about Venezuela, to make them think there was going to be some sort of, attack going on. This is about to come down. When ultimately, many of us who have close sources to the White House, and I was at the White House earlier this afternoon, were told that it was going to be an end-of-year speech focusing on what the policies were that worked this year, announcing some new initiatives, and then a look ahead to next year. And that was always going to be and always meant to be the main thrust of the speech. And that's exactly what it was. But there was this clearly a disinformation information operation run. And I think a lot of people, I think, what'd you say, Steve? They got some bad info. I think they're realizing that they got some bad info.
Yeah. So the people who had these high level sources, well, now your high level source ain't so high level, is it? You got played and you kind of made a fool of yourself, which is too bad, because some of them was like, I didn't want you to be made a fool of, Tucker. So, yeah, it's funny because Donald Trump, though he gets way more support from Tucker Carlson and the people that Tucker Carlson talks to than he does for Mark Levine. So it kind of makes you really scratch your head when he's up there giving Mark Levine a hug and all that kind of stuff. And it might just be a generational thing. Mark Levine's a lot closer to Donald Trump in influence and age and ideology than Tucker Carlson, even though Tucker Carlson is the biggest advocate for the most aggressive policies that Trump could offer. You know what I mean? And so there's a disconnect there. I think Charlie Kirk, his loss is felt so much in this time, because Charlie was the connection to the younger generation. Charlie was a connection to the people who really wanted him to burn down the house and fix things. And Charlie could have kind of helped him steer the nuance on how to, navigate that so that you could satisfy both the boomers and satisfy the youth. And I think that's just missing. I just don't think Trump has that same connection, and it's causing some problems in his messaging. There's no doubt about it. So along with this Venezuela,
there used to be a thing where, even enemies were gentlemanly, to the point of they could give each other a hug. Is that because they were friends, like a lot of people think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a book called Transformation of America. It's about the MK Ultra program.
Mm-hmm.
And if you read that book, it's relevant. It's revelatory because you do see just that. You have people that ideologically in the public are polar opposites, but they're bed buddies. Right. I mean, they're completely in on it together. Hillary Clinton in the WikiLeaks dumps, and Donald Trump talks about this in his campaign speeches in 2016 and 2016. He talks about, from the WikiLeaks dumps, you literally have Hillary Clinton telling Goldman Sachs, yeah, we have one policy to tell the public, but we have another one that we actually enact, and it's for you guys. Right. So they're connected by the money. And that's something that, now that we are more cognizant of the structure of the cartels and how it's operated around the world, it really does call into question if some of our favorite politicians might be bought off by the cartels. How do you have a guy like Thomas? I can get there with Thomas Massey on why he would go with the Epstein files. I can get there with Thomas Massey on why he would do other things. But why doesn't Thomas Massey talk about elections? For all the digging he does into J6, and I greatly appreciate it, does he not recognize that J6 was about putting a cap on the steal of the 2020 election? He doesn't talk about the steal of the election, right? And why J6 even happened in the first place, how it was kind of like the natural outflow of a stolen election.
It makes you think he's in that camp because he's getting a benefit from it, so he doesn't want to talk about it.
And it feels that same way with Rand Paul. Now, remember, Rand Paul's co-senator, Mitch McConnell, is clearly in bed with the CCP, which sounds crazy, except for his wife's father-in-law is an agent of the CCP, and that's where their wealth comes from, is these shipping companies, right? And so it's like, yeah, there's a direct connection there. And so it does make you kind of wonder. It's like, these guys have so many great things that they do, and they clearly serve their constituents. But when it comes down to the wire, the election, do you owe your seat to the people who actually run the algorithm or run the fraud? Does that make sense? And does it just look like, well, you're in Kentucky, so you have to be Republican? And I think that's something that I realized a long time ago. And I can't remember when it was after I was in college, but I was reading some book, but it was basically talking about how the two parties have carved up America. South and North Dakota will always be Republican. Idaho will always be Republican. Utah will always be Republican. So then you just steer the country inside of that framework. It's the Overton window. Let's go further and further to the right, right? The Democrats embraced gay marriage years and years ago, and the Republicans rejected it. And then it became kind of part of our culture, and the Supreme Court decision, the Obergefell. And now the Republicans, we have a gay Secretary of Treasury as a Republican, right?
And nobody even cares.
Nobody even cares. It's like, whatever. And so now the left is pushing the trans movement, and Republicans are rejecting it. But what's going to happen in a generation from now? Because you do have trans Republicans out there. There's a couple of serious influencers that are trans that are like Republican. Milo addresses this. He's like, one of the things that he regrets most in his life is making it cool for Republicans to be gay, right? That's a I hate to say all that stuff, but it's one of those things where when we sit back and we go, what is happening here? How are these people so misaligned with things they said in the past? The Overton window has moved so much. When we're talking about Venezuela and we're talking about drug boats being blown out of the water, it's a little bit ironic that the person who's screaming the loudest at the microphones every day is Chuck Schumer. And he's just cannot stand the fact that they're going after these narco-terrorists. Interesting fact, they're using his bill to do it.
This in front of me, this is the Maritime Drug Law Enforcement Act of 1986, authored by a member of Congress in 1986 from the state of New York. His name, Chuck Schumer. He wrote the law that passed almost unanimously that makes it legal to blow drug boats out of the water. It happened in the 80s a lot, in the 90s a lot. Go ahead, look it up, folks. Chuck Schumer, the author of this bill that made what we're doing with Venezuelan drug boats fully legal. We don't need permission from the rest of the world. Chuck Schumer gave us that in 1986.
It's kind of like the Biden crime bill that put all the kids with crack cocaine in prison, and then Biden's the one that has to pardon them because they're all serving extra time because of him, right? And then you got Chuck Schumer, who authorized the blowing of drug boats out of the water, and he's over here, "It can't be fair. That's not okay." Douglas Wyatt, good morning, Pony Boy. That flooding is insane. I know, right? It's almost as bad as the flooding that was coming over the border a couple years ago from the south. Except, yeah. But an easel warm morning here. So glad. Madam Min, good morning. Pray the Rosary Daily, good morning. Carlites, hey, fellow peasants. Carlites, we don't trust Massey or Rand Paul any more than MTG. You know, I don't trust any of them, to be completely frank. And I don't trust Donald Trump either, but I do. I have to.
You missed the Be Kind Rewind.
Be Kind Rewind. I had Alex Jones was talking yesterday, and he's like, you know, Trump is messing up on things, but, you know, what do you want me to not support Trump? Then we get the Democrats and they're going to kill me. He's like, I have no choice but to support Trump. I'm trying, you know, and I'm like, yeah, that's how I feel too. Like, he's protecting me and my family right now. Like, I'm on the shit list. You know what I mean? Like he set the precedent to reverse pardons. Do you know what that says to me? Like, that's scary stuff, you know, when you abuse the pardon power, Joe Biden, and then they decide to take away the pardon power by some constitutional amendment or something like that. I get hosed in the process. They had that confidential meeting the other day, and Clay Higgins, who is one of my favorite representatives, he is a no kind of guy. You remember Clay Higgins, his claim to fame was down in Louisiana. He's the sheriff, and he's standing there. Hey, any drug dealers come in my county, you know, you better be packing. We're ready to go hot. So Clay Higgins said, I observed.
And you know where to find us. We're not hard to find.
We're not hard to find, yeah. Clay Higgins said, I observed very, very carefully for an hour in a top secret HASC briefing today as Admiral Bradley maintained unwavering military bearing despite being berated by maniacal Democrats who apparently really like cocaine cartel boats almost as much as they liked illegals getting dumped across our southern border for 4 years. Dems essentially support the business model of cartel drugs and cartel thugs rampaging through our republic. Unreal. They've lost their collective minds. It is so bad, their resistance to things that are so obviously in the American citizen's interest. You have to start asking questions. Whose payroll are you on? There is no American ideology, libertarian or otherwise. You know, I understand libertarians are like, yeah, let the guy smoke some weed. You know, he's growing grass in his basement, whatever. I get it. But not cocaine coming up across borders, not fentanyl being shipped from China to Mexico and smuggled on the backs of kids that are being human trafficked across the border. There's no amount of libertarianism that goes, well, it's just the free market. I'm sorry, Rand and Thomas. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what we're doing here. This is poison. It's an outright attack.
You wouldn't have to smuggle it if it was the free market.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to smuggle it. You'd pay your taxes. I mean, these are guys that literally, they do not approve things. Like, again, right? The cartel. If you're above board and you just want free markets, then tax it. They don't propose taxing it. They propose ignoring it. If the cartel is in fact controlling our election systems, it explains so much.
Oh, yeah.
It would explain so much why someone who has no business denying United States citizens their rights and benefits and putting their lives and families at risk by allowing drugs and thugs into the country to approve of that unless they're being paid or blackmailed or something otherwise. Now, with Venezuela, Trump announced a full-on blockade of all oil ships. Right. And he's got this huge armada sitting down in the Caribbean to do it. And the strategy here is pretty simple. Cut off the funds, cut off the cartel.
The president is about to address America in just a few hours from the Oval Office. What do you think happens next? Will it be military action on the ground in Venezuela?
Now, the assumption here, everybody in the news was thinking this speech was going to be about Venezuela. So everybody's tune in. You know, Trump, the anti-war president's now going to go to war. And, it's going to be great.
To oust communist Maduro and take out drug cartel operations.
I don't think there's a very big chance at all there will be on-the-ground military operations. The goal is to squeeze Maduro and take away all his sources of revenue, which is the only reason he's still in power. And we started with his drug revenues, which were killing Americans. Now we've moved on to the big one, which is the oil revenue. And I think stopping that is going to be enough that one or more of his generals are going to decide that Maduro is more trouble than he's worth and truss him up and deliver him to us, drop him on a dock, or maybe go old school Pinochet style and give him a helicopter ride. But in the end, this is not a war where the U.S. is going to invade. This is a pressure operation that stops Maduro's revenue and turns his people against him.
I think the difference between Donald Trump and our former presidents is they were in on the drug trade. They were in on the grift. Donald Trump does not appear to be in on the grift. He wants the oil for American oil companies that are publicly traded. You know what I mean? He doesn't want a backdoor payday. He doesn't want some money to go into black projects that are not accountable to appropriations and stuff like that. Think of Iran. Trump's going to start a war with Iran. Oh my gosh, he just sent bombers. Oh no. The panicants went out. Oh my. Have we heard anything about Iran other than their ties to Venezuela? Nothing, right? Because we don't care. Regime change, it's for the Iranian people to do. But what we're not going to allow is for them to pursue nuclear weapons. And they're, Trump has stiffened the sanctions on them and not giving them any breathing room. Same thing here with Venezuela. Trump seems to understand how to win a war without fighting a war. He understands they can't fight without those ill-gotten gains from oil. And on paper, we have everything we need to have an embargo, a blockade. Those boats are already sanctioned. It's not something that we have to redo. It's been done. We just have to enforce it. Again, there are no laws. There are only cops. A law unenforced is not a law. It's a piece of paper. If you sanction ghost boats shipping oil and then you let them to continue to ship oil for 10 years with impunity, do you really have a law? Right? Or you know what I'm saying? Or are you giving them license to break the law because they're funneling back some cash? These are questions that
$30 car tabs.
Yeah, these are questions that are very real. Why can't we get our car tabs down? Well, Jay Inslee's got some friends that are on some, that are making license plates or whatever. I don't know. So this is some propaganda videos because the assumption was that Trump was going to make some announcement about going to war, on top of the fact that he did a full-on embargo of all shipping dealing with oil and drugs coming out of Venezuela. Let's just play the propaganda videos that got put out yesterday. Okay, so this is the United States propaganda video, because the deal with this is, well, let me just read this. This is from Mario Nawfal. Maduro calls Trump's bluff. Venezuela Navy now escorting oil tankers through the blockade zone. So blockades on, and then Venezuela, okay, well, we're going to escort our boats with military ships, okay? Hours after Trump announced a total complete blockade of the sanctioned Venezuela oil tankers, the Venezuelan Navy began escorting vessels out of the country, according to ship tracking data and sources familiar with the matter. Several ships carrying oil byproducts sailed from Venezuela's east coast between Tuesday evening and Wednesday morning with military escorts bound for Asian markets. Venezuela's state oil company, PDVSA, issued a defiant statement. Ships are continuing to sail with full security, technical support, and operational guarantees in legitimate exercise of their right to free navigation. A U.S. official in Washington said is aware of the escorts and considering various courses of action, but declined to provide details. Roughly 40% of the tankers that have transported Venezuela crude in recent years are under U.S. sanctions already. This sets up a potential confrontation between American and Venezuelan naval forces in the Caribbean. So this is the America's propaganda video. Carlitos, you're going to love this. We got big equipment, bro. A little Macarena music. I'll tell you, if I was a fishing boat carrying drugs, I'd be nervous.
Aren't these just fishing boats?
Aren't these just fishing boats? How dare Venezuela attack our fishing boats? Wow.
What are you guys fishing for?
Just like any red-blooded male, this just makes me be like, enlist me now.
Yes. Oh, this reminds me. Funny story. Over the weekend, I'm
No, we got to see Venezuela. So go ahead and tell the story while we watch Venezuela's Navy, because they put out their own propaganda video.
Sweet.
Not as impressive.
No.
There's the American boats right there.
Floating
Look at
tank.
this. You guys, you got to see this. There's the American boats right there. Right there. There's their boats.
So we're just sitting here at home over the weekend, minding our own business, and all of a sudden, a couple of F-15s fly over, and it's like, holy smokes! And they were close.
Yeah, I was outside when that happened.
And then a couple of minutes, they fly around again, and then a couple of minutes later, they fly around again. We keep running outside to look at them, and a couple of times they got so low, it's like, dang, you could almost wave to the pilots. And I was like, what the heck is going on?
Seahawks game.
Well, yeah, I didn't know, but because
we looked it up.
this has happened to me before because I'm not a football guy. That when these planes start flying over, I start getting on the internet like, how come there's jets flying over Seattle?
I did the same thing. I was like, did they scrambling? You know, is North Korea finally coming in? Is it Red Dawn? Nope, it was a Seahawks game. So Alex Jones got this advice for Donald Trump, and I agree. Donald Trump is making one critical error. He's talking to the TV that actually has the smallest audience. He needs to be talking to the people that have hundreds of millions of people listening. Audio.
I think Trump maybe once every 2 weeks, goes to a key battleground, helps Mike Lindell or whatever. No, he needs to be doing addresses. He cares about 60 Minutes. He cares about stuff with no viewers. He cares about Jimmy Kimmel with no viewers. He went on Elon Musk's show and had, 1 billion listeners. He goes on your show. It's exciting. 100 million viewers. He needs to be flooding the zone, going back on all the big shows, going on Joe Rogan, going on those programs and talking directly to the people and not then going to CBS and complaining that they edited it. What do you think? It's like he's like the frog that's swimming across the river and the scorpion says, give me a ride. He goes, well, you're going to sting me to death. He goes, no, I won't. He takes him across. The scorpion stings him. He's dying. He says, why'd you do that? He goes, I'm a scorpion. It's like Trump's snake story. Why is he taking the beautiful snake up to his breast? Trump, you're 79. I respect you. You're way smarter in many ways. But let me explain. Barron can explain it. And Steve's old like me, but he knows the numbers. There are medium-sized shows with more viewers than CNN. Stop giving them power. They're dead. Let the dead bury the dead. Dust off your feet. Stop it. Engage with us. Talk directly to us. Write to us and say, I need you, and it's over. That is the Holy Grail. That is the Excalibur. That is the Spear of Destiny. That is what he must do. It all must be directly to us. I need you. I need you. The minute he does that, nothing but victory.
I agree 100%. It is stupid that Susie Wiles went and spent 11 days talking with Vanity Fair. It was she said Elon Musk.
11 days?
11 interviews.
Oh my God.
Elon Musk, she said Elon Musk is just hopped up on ketamines. She talked about, stupid. Okay. When you are a media personality, everything you say is going to be recorded, chopped up. So you become conscientious of it, right? Apparently she's not a media person. She doesn't talk much to the media. She's a lobbyist. She does the background stuff. So when she went and did this, she's saying things.
I thought she was like the smartest she was like the smartest female on the whole planet, right?
Yeah, she's saying things that shouldn't be said to a reporter. They're not on your side. You're never going to win them over. Okay. I agree 100% with what he's saying. Starve them out. Make CNN report on Joe Rogan. Does that make sense? Yeah. Don't go to CNN and make Joe Rogan report on CNN. Don't make Alex Jones have to play MS Now clips.
Right.
Make MS Now have to play Alex Jones clips. That's the difference. Alex Jones has an audience. He has probably the largest audience, maybe not in the world because you got a couple countries with billions of people, but he's probably got the largest audience in the United States. He's syndicated on AM, FM. He's got the internet show. He's got a huge audience. He gets thrown away. He gets thrown out as just being a raw conspiracy theorist, but he's not at all. He's like this show. He just wants to talk about the things he actually sees that are actually real. One of the things that we have a problem with in America, and this has been my beef for many, many years, is the deal's not fair, right? If being a U.S. citizen means I'm entitled to some benefits, why do I pay? And I see deadbeats getting that money. I see deadbeats getting the fruit of my labor via food stamps, via subsidies, via Section 8, all those kind of things.
Every time.
But when I want to go apply for things, oh, I'm sorry, you're a male. You've got to look for work. Well, why doesn't the black male have to look for work, right? And it's becoming more and more obvious. On top of that, you have this invisible fraud that we can't see. So they just indicted a woman from Arizona who was participating in a scheme to get driver's licenses and things with no people behind it through the state. And then she was selling them to North Korea, who was getting SNAP benefits and housing benefits through these fake ID cards. Okay. And this is Janine Pirro being interviewed to talk about this.
She is saying she didn't know anything about it.
She's claiming that she knew they were overseas workers, but didn't know they were North Korean.
I want to say something. Her own messages make it clear that she knew she was working for enemies of the United States. Example, I just found out from a lawyer, July 1, I can get in some serious legal trouble for doing this. 620, I can go to federal prison for falsifying federal documents. I don't buy this innocence. It's her own words that deep six her. And it is a very simple thing for American companies to start checking on who is working for them. They've got to make sure that if they have remote workers, are they really remote American workers? Are they working in the United States? Are they who they say they are?
Yeah, so she was procuring these IDs, right? Probably started out, hey, can you get an ID for some worker pulled on the empathy card? They're illegal, but we need an ID card. Next thing you know, she's running laptop farms, all this stuff. And she's claiming, oh, I'm just an innocent bystander. You know what I mean? If you have a stay-at-home mom that's doing pretty well, it's one of two things, apparently. It's either OnlyFans or foreign fraud. Okay? This is endemic. Right? The system is being taken advantage of. And here's the problem. Like we say before, there are no laws. There are only cops. Right? So this is out in Minneapolis. This is the chief of police in Minneapolis. They had some type of event in a church, and he goes into this church. Listen to this. This is a man who's in charge of enforcing the law. This is a state that has been overrun with Somali fraud of all flavors. Everything from common law crimes to financial crimes, right? It's horrible. But listen to him defend the system and pull on your Christian empathy.
Good morning. Thank you, Mayor. My name is Brian O'Hara, and I am the Minneapolis Police Chief. First off, thank you, Pastor Sergio, for inviting us back into this sacred space here. We know this has been a very, very difficult time for our communities here in the city. The fear that people are experiencing is real. As our mayor has said, it's been sad to drive down Lake Street and to see so many of our businesses either closed or empty. It's hard to see the impact that this is having on everyone in our community. It's especially personal to me, having been raised a Catholic, to be in a Christian church this morning as we are approaching Christmas. And I cannot help but think of what is happening in our city today and how that echoes with how outsiders have been treated for thousands of years. How Mary and Joseph themselves were considered outsiders and forced to stay in a barn. That's what we're...
No, it was tax season and they were going to participate in the census and all the hotels in town were full because everyone else was going into town too.
Yeah.
They were not immigrants in their own land.
If there was an opening, they would have got it.
They would have got it, yeah.
Ready to commemorate as Christians around the world while all of this fear is happening right here in our town. So my goal and our goal as the Minneapolis Police is to try and do what we can to reduce fear, to reduce anxiety, and to try and help provide for public safety and uphold human dignity.
The entire apparatus of the state of Minnesota was turned around and weaponized against legacy Americans, typically white and black Americans, in favor of Somalis and other immigrant groups. All those empty businesses that you're talking about, some of them were 150 square foot bodegas that were bringing in tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. As shown by an indictment yesterday.
We are announcing federal charges against two men, Antonio Bonner and Saul Elisme, for large-scale SNAP benefit trafficking, a scheme that turned a program designed to feed families into a multi-million-dollar criminal enterprise. SNAP benefits are also known as food stamps. The defendants are charged with one count of food stamp fraud. As alleged in the charging documents, these men abused one of the government's most critical safety net programs for their own financial gain. This is taxpayer money meant to keep people from going hungry. These defendants decided to take it for themselves. These defendants exchanged SNAP benefits for cash, which they pocketed. Bonner, a naturalized U.S. citizen from Haiti, owned the Jesuela Variety Store. Elisme, a lawful permanent resident also from Haiti, owned the Saul Mache Mixe store. These two businesses were co-located within a single storefront in Boston. To be certain, these were not supermarkets. They were not full-service groceries. It would be a huge stretch to even call them convenience stores. In fact, the only thing convenient about these stores was how easy it was to commit SNAP benefit fraud. To put this in perspective, the Jesuela Variety Store is less than 150 square feet in size, smaller than some bathrooms. The Saul Mache Mixe store was approximately 500 square feet in space. By contrast, a supermarket can be 20,000 to 60,000 square feet in size, have a dozen or more registers, and employ numerous employees. Both the Jesuela Variety and Saul Mache Mixe stores had one register, no carriages, no hand baskets, and very little food for sale. One legitimate supermarket in the same area as these stores redeems approximately $80,000 in SNAP benefits per month. Over the last 20 months, the Jesuela Variety Store was redeeming between 3 and 6 times that amount monthly.
360
Whoa.
monthly.
Whoa.
Stolen out of our pockets. So I pay.
That's not fraud.
I pay and they win every time.
With nowhere near the space, inventory, customers, or infrastructure to support it. The Saul Mache Mixe store redeemed over $120,000 in SNAP benefits in the last 6 months. Simply put, there is no plausible way SNAP eligible food could have been purchased from these stores for this long. Yet, these two stores are alleged to have illicitly trafficked nearly $7 million in SNAP benefits.
$7 million in SNAP benefits and essentially no food.
Wow.
And it was Boston, by the way. I misspoke when I said Minnesota. But let's go to now Illinois.
Okay.
Right? So this is the mayor of what town is this? It's a town that it's a common name of a town. It's not a Springfield, but it's a common name of a town. This is the mayor of that town, right? So again, who are his constituents? Who does he think is voting for him? Who's buttering his bread, so to speak?
So a few minutes ago, a bunch of ICE and CBP agents were here. I stood face to face with Greg Bovino right here, and he threatened us, said he's going to continue the enforcement. Of course, what he said was he's keeping us safe from violence, but what we know...
Oh, okay. I'm going to keep you safe from violence. He's threatening me. Okay.
No, it's just the violence is being perpetrated by federal agents. They had a conversation with our police chief. It sounds like they plan to be here throughout the rest of the day. I'm delighted
Evanston
to say there were tons of rapid responders. There were people pushing back. The tragedy is that as I saw with my own eyes, 2 people who they abducted, and I told there may be more. It's not clear yet, and I don't want to say anything unless I'm sure it's true. But what I would say is this: stay alert, stay active, keep yourself safe. If you're trained in rapid response, be out and about, and always remember the ICIRR hotline, 855-435-7693. We need to keep each other safe.
And he also goes on to say, and don't forget to use your whistles to let the community know that ICE is right. And you notice he had a whistle. You know, notice he's got his rape whistle right here around his neck. Who are his constituents in Evanston, Illinois? Who is he protecting?
I don't know.
Now, this woman right here, she is She's a Mexican immigrant living in America, and she just spills the beans, guys. She spills the beans. But before we hear what she has to say, let me get to the chats here. Carlite says, makes me wish I was back in the game, in reference to the Navy videos. He's an old Coast Guard pilot. Thank you for your service. DollarsVoteLouder.com. Don't forget to visit it. In 2020, fake news spent all of their credibility on the COVID narrative. Credibility. Bankruptcy TV is trash now. Citizen journalists, podcasts, and peasants' perspectives are where it's at. Well, thank you. Yes, it is. Pray the Rosary Daily. There's something sus about Susie doing those interviews. I don't know if it's just bad judgment or what, but either way, they had to do a whole op. They had to get all the cabinet secretaries to come to Susie's defense. But it's like, dude, she just threw you guys under the bus. Birkenbein. Mary and Joseph were Roman citizens and were abiding by the laws put down by Rome. Yes, they were. They were not immigrants. Pray the Rosary Daily reminds us it's Evanston. Thank you very much. Okay, so this woman from Mexico is spilling the beans on why they really come here.
Let me hold your hand when I say this. We do not move to America because we think it's a better country. We move here because it's a little less worse than our other countries. Because you're stupid to think that we moved to this country for some hot dogs and some baseball. We have better vibes, music, food, culture, history, literally all of the above. We just move here because we are looking to make more money and offer a better chance for our families. Did you know that the minimum wage a day, not an hour, a day in Mexico is not even 15 American dollars? Not even 15 American dollars. Right now with $15 in San Diego, I could go maybe buy a matcha and half of a granola bar, honey. You support ICE. You support people getting destroyed. If you support families getting destroyed, I hope you rot in hell. And I will see you there, babes, for sure.
Well done, Broad. A, I hope you get denaturalized and deported. And second, the reason the matcha is $15 is because you keep sending the money back to Mexico. Okay? That's the problem. We are supporting the entire world. All of our profits get robbed and sent overseas through remittances. And hey, you're right. If you can come up here and you can get a good job and you can live in the spare bedroom and put 25 people in a house, it totally destroy the neighborhood, play your music too loud, drug guys coming in and out, some EBT fraud, you're right. Now your family down in Mexico doesn't have to be industrious. They don't have to be entrepreneurial. They don't have to provide value in order to get compensation. You're right. I can see why we've created a magnet here by our success. But you come here not for our culture, not because you're trying to come to a better place, not because you believe in America. No, you're coming for one reason and one reason only. Money. That's it. You're not paying into the system. You're taken out of the system. You are the cause. That, and immigration is like, as illegal immigration goes up, all the other problems go up too. It's like ice cream and shark attacks. It's like somehow they're just directly correlated, right? So yesterday I mentioned the letter from Secretary McMahon to Tim Walz, and I misquoted. I said $12 billion. It happened to be $12 million. But here's what she says here. She goes, we have called the fraudsters ghost students because they were not ID verified and often did not live in the United States, or they simply did not exist. In Minnesota, 1,834 ghost students were found to have received 12.5 million taxpayer-funded grants and loans. They collected checks from the federal government, shared a small portion of the money with the college, and pocketed the rest without attending college at all. To stop ghost students, we at the Department of Education implemented enhanced fraud controls such as mandatory identity verification for first-time student applicants. Our new fraud prevention system now blocked more than $1 billion in attempted financial aid theft by fraudsters, including coordinated international fraud rings and AI bots pretending to be students. Even one of your state's top elected officials, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, has sought to take advantage of the federal taxpayer by advocating for broad student debt cancellation, which she has publicly acknowledged will benefit her directly. She borrowed tens of thousands of dollars to attend college as a politics major, and now she does not think she should have to repay despite her generous taxpayer-funded salary. My colleagues in other federal departments have uncovered the massive scandal of welfare fraud in Minnesota, where you have done absolutely nothing as governor to stop this criminal behavior. Scammers have gotten rich off federal government housing, education, food stamp, and small business programs, even defrauding assistance for elder care and autistic children. Joining these criminals in their schemes have been Minnesota politicians who benefit. How do they benefit? Votes, donations, and from fraudster support like the radical Islamic terror groups overseas who receive Minnesota money to kill American service members. Minnesota's political elite has turned a blind eye and even helped facilitate the laundering of money that was meant to help America's least fortunate. Shame on you, Governor Walz, for allowing this to happen and for benefiting from it. Stop defrauding American taxpayers. No politician is above the law, and my department, alongside every other agency under the leadership of President Trump, will continue to ensure that you will not be able to dodge accountability for your actions. Given your dereliction of office entrusted to you by Minnesotans, I implore you to resign and make way for more capable leadership. Imagine the bullet we dodged by not having Kamala Harris and Tim Walz as our president and vice president.
For real.
If you think what Kamala Harris did in California as the attorney general was bad, right? Keeping guys in jail longer than they were supposed to, locking up people smoking weed while she herself was smoking weed, climbing the political ladder while kneeling on her knees, if you know what I'm saying, right? I was in prison with a guy that was directly involved with paying bribes to Kamala Harris. This is one of the interesting things about my journey. I got to meet people who are doing time for other people's political crimes, right? So this is the guy that got caught with 80 tons of cocaine on a boat and was running a Pacific cartel, trafficking drugs to the Pacific Islands. Ended up JP Morgan Chase's son came in and took over the cartel now. We showed the clip how JP Morgan boat got caught with a bunch of cocaine. Yeah, that's his cartel. He's in prison. Now they were giving payoffs to Kamala Harris in California. I heard it from his mouth. He's no real reason to lie. He's literally on oxygen and dialysis. He's dying in prison. And he's just like, yeah, Kamala Harris is corrupt. Like they all are. Like to him, it wasn't even that big a deal because that's just the modus operandi, right? So she was involved with that. Look at what Tim Walz was doing in Minnesota. It's like unbelievable. Donald Trump in his speech last night pointed this out.
American-born citizens, 100%. In the end, government either serves the productive, patriotic, hardworking American citizen, or it serves those who break the laws, cheat the system, and seek power and profit at the expense of our nation. Look at Minnesota, where Somalians have taken over the economics of the state and have stolen billions and billions of dollars from Minnesota and indeed from the United States of America. And we're going to put an end to it. For so long as before my election, the vast majority of good and decent Americans were forced to watch as corrupt politicians plundered the halls of power.
That is the truth. The more you become aware of it, the more you just become sickened by it. And you feel like I have to pay my taxes or they'll put me in jail. Well, apparently they don't do that for, you should just, I remember the old video of the guy, I'm heading down to the Mexican border so I can come back north and get free housing and free benefits. He's like, I'm going to abandon all of my identification down there and come up and be Pedro, That's the truth of the matter. Now, it's getting so ridiculous, right? We mentioned how the Overton window is changing and how like the system is no longer set up to benefit the nuclear family. That's just kind of like a personal decision on if you want to do that or not. Okay. This guy, I listened to this and you guys are going to laugh. Please hear this man out. He's making not a bad point. I mean, given the state of affairs and how things are, I wouldn't be surprised if this starts to become something a little bit more in vogue.
Okay, so I've decided I'm looking for a husband. Now, hear me out. I'm looking for a straight man that would like to get married to another straight man. You can date any woman you want to. You can have many girls you want to. I don't care. I'll never bitch about it. I don't care. I just want a joint 2-income household. Honestly, I'll remodel the house. I'll make it have 2 master bedrooms. I don't care. And as far as I'm concerned, you can have the master bedroom now. I'll remodel the house and then take it when it's done because we'll have 2 incomes. We can afford it. A couple things would be nice. It'd be nice if you had a boat. That'd be cool. But if not, don't care. We'll buy one. You and I, buddy. You and I. We will buy one together. We'll have some nice shit. That's what we're going to do. Guess what? Holidays roll around. You don't have to buy me anything. Nothing. Not for my birthday, not for Valentine's, Christmas, nothing. Let's just go have a couple beers. Doesn't that sound nice? Doesn't that sound really, really nice? No bitching, no complaining. Holidays roll around. Let's go get a couple beers. You know? Anything. Anything, mate. You don't have a motorcycle? You could ride one of mine. I don't care. We'll go get you one. We can afford it. It'd be nice if you cleaned up around the house. That'd be cool. But you know what? Don't care. We can get it made. We can afford it. We'll pay a little extra and have her clean topless. Wouldn't that be nice? That'd be nice. Guess what? No bitching. Don't care. You won't care? I won't care. It'd be nice. It'd be nice to have some nice things and not have to deal with all the shit that goes along with a normal marriage. I'm okay with that. I just want the tax benefits. I want the 2-income household and none of the problems that come along with marrying someone of the opposite sex. You can, like I said, date whoever you want to, as many as you want to. You bring them over, guess what? Pow, high five, good for you. She's a pretty girl. Guess what? Pow, high five. She's an ugly girl. Don't kill. Don't care. Kill's a kill. That's the way it works out. Don't care what you do. I don't. Stay out all night long. Drunk as shit. Don't care. Come home whenever you want to. Don't care. Don't come home. Don't care. Don't care. I'm not going to burn your stuff. I'm not going to get jealous. I'm not going to mess with anything. It's just going to be nice, isn't it? Now that you hear me out a little bit, doesn't that sound like, well, you know what? He's got a pretty damn good point. You want to wash car parts in the dishwasher? Don't give a shit. Don't care. I'll understand that. Like, you know what? They got to get clean. You got to put them on. It's got to be right before you put that motor back together. Guess what? I'll help you. You know what? I'll do the weed eating. You do the mowing, or vice versa. Don't care. Most of the time, I have to do all of it. All of it. Both as a man, we know we have to do all that shit. Guess what? We'll split it. We'll split it. Or we'll hire a lawn service. We can afford it now. Doesn't that sound nice? You're starting to come around to my side of this, aren't you? Anyways, very soon, I got to get my affairs in order. And I'm going to be looking for a husband. So I'll put a post out there. Get with me.
Oh, you had me right up until the kissy face.
You guys, we've lost the plot of America. Okay? We've incentivized all the wrong things. Okay? You give tax breaks to married couples, but you disincentivized everything about being married. Okay? I'm just looking for a straight husband. She's a pretty girl. High five. She's not. That's okay. Kill's a kill. High five. You want to wash car parts in the dishwasher? Not a problem. Makes sense to me.
I'll help you.
I'll weed eat, you mow. Normally, I got to do it all. It's pretty funny. That's our little comedy break. But we have reached the point where, that's pretty much, that's not fraud. That's legal. And it's the right way to get ahead. And unfortunately, it's probably going to be an incentive for some people. Oh, my goodness. Are we ready to have a little, what do we got going on here?
I don't know.
No, something weird. The Providence, Rhode Island situation is really crazy. Okay, so now that they've released a lot of the...
Oh, this is Brown.
Yeah, Brown University, to my knowledge, has released no footage.
Mm-hmm.
It's doorbell cameras from around Brown University that have been released. And apparently this suspect that we know is the suspect walking, we played it yesterday. It really looks like this Mufasa guy, allegedly. Mm-hmm. Okay, but he had some accomplices. There were some other people walking around with him. So here's a picture of one person of interest wearing a hijab, of course, probably a female. So this is pretty interesting. And they got criticized yesterday because turns out Brown, as part of this mental mind virus trying to prevent ICE from coming around because a huge portion of their student body are illegal aliens, basically, disabled their cameras.
The camera in that building that Brown put up because the sanctuary city law that we have. You don't want to report illegal immigrants, and you don't want to provide the footage to the FBI or immigration authority. One camera and that building, it come up from your detectives. They're friends of mine. They're angry at this investigation that these people in Brown University put the camera up. They can identify that person. You imagine how the family want to go through? Tell the truth.
Okay, so he's saying you guys haven't provided footage to the FBI because you don't want the FBI to use the footage to identify illegal aliens. Right. And this is a Providence, Rhode Island news broadcaster that's asking this question. I apologize, it's hard to hear. He's got a strong accent.
To the media here.
We heard from both the Brown police chief and the provost at Brown, who have shared that they have been fully cooperative and been forthcoming with all data and evidence that they have.
The problem is they actually turned off the cameras.
So they don't have it.
They don't have it. Yep. And who would know that? Who would know that the cameras are missing? Would maybe a faculty member know that? So
sus.
Have you ever heard of Assemblyman Lyle Culpepper?
No.
So Lyle Culpepper is just everywhere. Okay. And Lyle Culpepper was part of this press conference here. And he's one of these guys that just says the quiet part out loud.
We're asking the public to please stop referring to him as the brown shooter, as this has an inherently Islamophobic connotation. And brown because of Brown University, not because of the color of skin. Right. We are also asking the public to please stop posting photos of Mufasa Carmack. We would, for the sake of diversity, really like to pin this on a different ethnicity, because it is unfair to keep blaming Islam for every violent act they commit. Let's do better.
It's satire. But it's kind of convincing for a minute, isn't it?
Like, what the heck is going on here?
It's satire. But that's like actually what's happening here. Please, guys, we're scrubbing our website. Yes, we're taking all this stuff off, but he's not the suspect. Stop posting his name. In fact, yesterday, some representative of this Mustafa guy was calling around to people who'd posted online. If they could track your number down, they were calling, please take it down or you'll get sued. The guy's like, why would I get sued? I mean, it's a dead match. And I said, allegedly. He's like, well, we need you to take it down. So they're doing some kind of PR to get out in front of this, but it's the Brown University themselves that have been taking, they're the ones who outed him by removing his stuff off the website, which made people go, why are you updating the website in real time like this? And then you go, oh, that guy's got a little pot belly, about the right skin tone. Oh, hey, that guy's got a little pot belly, right about the right skin tone. Oh, he's got the same gait. It's like, Brown University.
Crazy coincidences.
You kind of pointed the finger to this guy. It's almost maybe like somebody inside Brown University off camera knew who it was who shot the guy. Oh, and by the way, did you know they haven't interviewed any of the witnesses yet?
What?
Yeah. They haven't interviewed any of the witnesses yet, but they will be. Don't worry. A week later, they'll get to it. Guys, this is a cover-up of epic proportions. A faculty member at Brown University who is in violation of all the DEI, anti-DEI.
Sounds like a cover-up of stupid proportions.
This is horrible. Like, this has the potential to actually destroy the university system. Like, it's that big of a deal when you get down to the underlying, like, they're covering up a massive crime.
This is like a real life case of them lying right to your face, and they're going to get away with it unless we continue the pushback.
Exactly. Now, some things are just beyond belief, right? So yesterday, Fani Willis had her little moment in the hot seat in Fulton County, Georgia, where she had to be held to account for how much she spent on this trial against Trump and why she hired Nathan Wade. Nathan Wade was her boo. He was her boyfriend, right? And she paid Nathan Wade. Nathan Wade had never tried a felony case ever. And now he's trying the president of the United States on some specious charges. Okay.
Good luck.
So she was confronted yesterday about Nathan Wade's billing, because it turns out Nathan Wade billed 160 hours a week. Okay, which provided him an incredibly high income. And when Fani Willis was approached by this, being like, hey, here's the, his billing. Did you know he was billing 160 hours a week? And this is what she had to say about it. Now, the audio is a little loud because she was screaming.
I don't review those documents, so you're asking me to look at documents that I haven't for the first time. What I can tell you is that I'll give you allowed.
Okay, so here he is billing 160 hours a week. Okay, 160 hours a week. And by the way, you see this invoice here? This is like an Excel invoice. He's not even using QuickBooks.
Mr. Wade to bill 160 hours a week, and then Mr. Wade would be the first one in the office making sure that my staff arrived. He corrected their behavior. They thought that 8:30 meant 8:30. He taught them that 8:30 means 7:45. I don't review those documents.
Okay, so he's getting in the office at 7:45.
Okay.
And based on 160 hours of viewing, 160 hours of billing, he probably left the office at about 5 a.m. What's going on?
I don't know.
Is it flicking when it? It's like flicking for me. I don't like being weird. So Mike Davis had this to say about Fani Willis's fat butt.
I would say that poor Nathan Wade. Apparently, Nathan Wade had to buy her that fake rabbit fur coat that she wore into the court to the Georgia Senate hearing today. She went in there.
One of the things she complained about, she was wearing this big white rabbit coat when she came in. It was like, and she was carrying a Louis Vuitton bag that's shaped like a fan. It's a $10,000 bag. Okay, and she had it out on the table, and she starts complaining about how district attorneys are underpaid. Ron, they're underpaid, grossly underpaid. We can't even hire people. She got a $10,000 bag on the table.
Bad look.
Underpaid. Okay,
bad look.
She was defiant. She was telling the Georgia senators that their questions were so-called dumbass. And some other things that Big Fanny was saying. Big Fanny is a train wreck. She's always been a train wreck, and she clearly committed crimes with her bogus prosecutions of President Trump and his aides and his allies related to their lawful objection to the 2020 election, again, which is permitted by the Electoral Count Act of 1887, along with the First Amendment. Big Fanny, she got into big trouble on this prosecution because she hired her dumb, unqualified boyfriend, Nathan Wade, who she defended today. She paid him, it was like $250 an hour, $700,000 in Fulton County funds. She took these lavish trips.
Hang on 1 second. We're going to hold through the break. I know you're busy.
She's laundered the money through her boyfriend. Okay. She hired a boyfriend who is unqualified to do anything with felony cases at that scale and level, right? Paid him $250 an hour, allowed him to bill $160 a week, and then went on vacations with him on his dime. She laundered personal benefit through a boyfriend, knowing this case was bullshit, knowing that eventually the Biden administration would have her back and that she would never be held to account for this. Okay. Utter depravity. It's no better than illegal immigrants taking advantage of you. You know what I mean? It's like you can see them spending our money, like that, and then to turn around and complain and tell them that the government that they need more money because you're underpaying the DAs. Well, how do you afford that purse? It's a gift from Nathan. Got it. Okay, yeah, no, I get it. I understand. It's a gift from Nathan. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Trump's speech last night Trump needs to go more hardcore. Okay, there's two takes on Trump's speech last night. The first thing is Newt Gingrich. So Newt Gingrich had this to say about Donald Trump's speech, and I agree with him.
To watch President Trump give a 19-minute disciplined speech that covered that many facts was worthy of Ronald Reagan. That was a good speech. It was an important speech. Someday people will say it was one of the most important speeches of his career because it set the table for the entire debate over the next year and laid out what Biden did to make the country a disaster, what Trump has already done, and where we are going in general, and why that's the right direction. I think it's a very, very important speech.
It was the starting gun for the midterms. Trump ran the info op to get people to believe that it was going to be Venezuela. He had the news channels all hyping it because, oh, look, the war, Trump's trying to take us to war, regime change. It's about oil. Total psyop. And then he gets up there and he just, here's our success. Here's some charts, illegal immigration, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, and Venezuela. Somalia's been, Minnesota's been taken over by Somalians. We're going to get to the, and then that was it. Like it totally faked out all the media who'd hyped it. And it was the opening gun of the midterms. 100% for sure. That's what that was yesterday. They're going to start going hard. They're going to start campaigning. Now, then so that's the boomer take. Okay, that's the Newt Gingrich boomer take. Now you get the Alex Jones take.
Thanks, Steve. Great analysis by you and your crew. We've been just simulcasting the last hour, and I agree with it all. But you were asking different reporters and journalists and analysts, was it too hardcore? Was it too dense? Was it too technical? Because we all know the facts. I mean, it was all true what Trump said. And overall, I'd give it like a B-. And I'm not criticizing the president. He needs to create absolute existential threat, which is what it is, total urgency, and get 10 times more hardcore and say the globalist NGOs, which is publicly happening, are trying to crash the U.S. They're working with the Chinese. They're trying to take everything you've got. We've already cut energy prices by 30 to 50%. We've already cut all these other prices. I'm doing everything I can, but I'm facing major headwinds. I need your help. He needs to enlist us to get behind him and support ICE that's under attack and explain that this country is in a battle for its life. He conscripts us with that message. It's game over for them. We are in a historical crisis. We need George Washington. We need Abraham Lincoln. We need President Jackson right now, Andrew Jackson. We need to just straight through. So I know they're telling him, be nice, don't take scalps for the DOJ, blah, blah, blah. All of that is what happened 8 years ago. Things are better now. He's way more hardcore than he was then. So, let's say on hardcore, he was a 2 before. Now he's a 5. We need a 12. We need a 50, above 10. It's like Spinal Tap. We need 11. He just needs to directly tell us what we need to do, directly tell us what we're up against, because those of us that study it know the technicals. He's got the Federal Reserve to do what he's supposed to, though a little bit late. He has won the tariff issues. There'll be some pain up front. But overall, America surrenders over. You want to get out from under the globalists. You want jobs back in America. You want law and order. In the areas I can control, like the border, we're down 96%. Basically nobody coming across. We've saved and already found 60,000 of the kids. And just so I wish the speech was an hour long. Great that it was focused on domestic, but also explained that domestically we're under attack. So my only message to Trump is, damn the torpedoes, go straight at them and speak directly to the people and say, look, you elected me to stop the deep state. And you see what we're up against.
That's it. When you're talking to the younger crowd, which Alex Jones talks to, and the disaffected boomers, this is about the deep state. There's a lot of things that Trump's doing that are great, and they are excellent. I mean, absolutely excellent things. But if you can't take care of the deep state, they'll just unravel it. They'll keep allowing fraud. They'll keep being bought off. It's not going to stop. You have some things that are huge symbols. Ilhan Omar, for example, being in Congress as someone who committed immigration fraud to be naturalized, took advantage of the system, has no allegiance to the United States. She openly says, you have a Somali representative in the United States Congress. And what does that do? It creates air cover for them to commit the fraud they've committed. This is Andy Ogles, who seems to have woken up, seems to have figured it out. The new right, moving forward, has to have a much stronger backbone and has to do the hard things.
The temptation to be purely reactionary is real. Every day, my work is dictated by a news cycle that sensationalizes sound bites, snippets, likes, and shares, and then simply moves on. Congress responds by slapping Band-Aids and passing empty resolutions on America's worst issues and problems, and then moves on. What has it gotten us? $38 trillion in debt, a culture in decline. We are always playing defense. And if Donald Trump has taught us anything, is if you're playing defense, you're losing.
Mm-hmm.
The second A in MAGA is a very important term. Make America great again. It means to actively resurrect our government, our traditions, and our faith. For example, if dubiously elected, or rather naturalized illegal immigrants are polluting our politics, the new right must have courage to deport them. We don't just complain about how bad things will get, we must act.
And that is what has to happen. There has to be actions. Just pointing out that Ilhan Omar married her brother is one thing. Putting her in prison for is another. Denaturalizing her is another. And deporting her is another. It must be done. Mm-hmm. You must take illegals off the street. I don't care the sob story they give you. You paid a cartel member to be here. You poisoned our sons and daughters.
And if we allow one Ilhan Omar, it's only a matter of time before there's 100 of them.
Exactly. Getting into the chats, seems like 3 to 4 days, Burke Bean says, to get to the grainy ring camera video. Yeah, no. Pray the Rosary Daily, and the CPI came in at 2.7. That was a big win. And don't forget to Ponyboy says, don't forget to donate to Left Behind. It's Christmas. Yes, they're doing their big Christmas drive. My wife's been taking calls from families, and they've been doing Christmas lists and stuff like that. So yeah, please, put it on your Christmas list to make a donation to Left Behind and Without literally every dollar counts. Like, you know, $25 can make a Christmas present for a kid. It's pretty significant. So we love that. All right, guys, we're going to jump over into private, and we're going to be hearing from Candace Owens talking about Bridget McCrone. You're not going to want to miss this. It is salacious and fun. Just talking to Piers Morgan. And we're also going to be hearing a little bit from Kamala Harris and doing a little bit of analysis on that. So join us over on private, and we'll see the rest of you guys again tomorrow. Tomorrow, no matter what, we have to do a raid. So just so you know, that we're going to have the full show. We'd love for lots of chatters. Be prepared. I think we'll try right at 7 o'clock to do a raid.
Okay.
So we've got to figure that out. And what we have to do is our chat, we're going to go to another show that's live streaming, where our chat is going to go into their chat and we're going to interact. Okay. So we want you guys to put on your best face. You know, you're representing the peasants. The peasants are arriving. Don't bring your pitchforks, right? Bring your plates of cookies. Maybe someday we'll do peasants arrive with pitchforks and we'll visit like a rival podcast that's, you know, on the left or something like that. But tomorrow's going to be nice and fun. We'll find a podcast. We'll go in and make some friends, and you guys can refer the show, tell them how great it is, and let's see if we can grow the audience. So we have to do 5 raids this month as part of our creator program. We've never done it, never thought about doing it. We have been raided, however.
We don't even really know how to do it.
Don't even really know how. It looks so complicated. Probably isn't complicated. It's like 3 clicks. But either way, we got to do that tomorrow. We'll target right at 7 a.m. So please, please, please try to be here for that. Okay.